Hey, welcome to this live recording session of Coatings Talk. I'm your host, Jim Kunkel. I'm a certified protective coating specialist, and for the last 15 years, I've worked in the protective coatings industry. Here on Coatings Talk, you'll find the latest information and industry best practices for the global protective coatings and corrosion industries, as well as interviews with professionals who make coatings and corrosion interesting. During this live recording, you'll have the opportunity to post comments that I can include into the episode's recording. Before I get into today's topic, let me talk to you about an affiliate program that I have set up with coffeebrandcoffee.com. With coffeebrandcoffee.com, you can actually purchase high quality premium coffee, tea, and more. And when you do your checkout, use checkout code Coatings Talk, and you can save at least 10%, if not more, the time when you place your order and you check out. Again, go to coffeebrandcoffee.com, check out the reviews, check out the premium quality coffee, tea, and more, and use discount code or coupon code, if whatever you want to call that, Coatings Talk, and save a little bit. So I really appreciate you supporting this broadcast. Now, let's go ahead and we'll get into this topic. Before I get into the episode, let me start this over again. The good thing about this being a recording. So let me talk about defining quality. During my years of experience working with facility owners and specifiers, one of the top concerns that have been expressed to me was finding the best qualified bid offer from a quality contractor, a paint shop, and even the aspect of inspection for coatings inspection. The same concern can also come and surface with owners and specifiers. Now, the concern is directly related to quality project operation and the related processes to deliver quality work on protective coatings project. Now, poor work quality or incorrectly followed specifications and project requirements can result in a shortening of life cycles of a coating system. Quality is an essential aspect of a successful industrial project. It closely intertwines with safety, productivity, and risk management. Now, in the context of industrial painting projects, quality refers to the adherence of established standards, guidelines, and procedures throughout the project's life cycle. It encompasses various aspects of a project, including the quality of the raw materials, the products, the manufactured products, the equipment and services, and importantly, the qualification of the industrial painting contractor, coatings inspection firm, and the paint shops that are collectively related to the operations and the production that are required to complete the coatings or coatings projects. Now, maintaining a high quality standards is very crucial as it directly impacts the overall success of a project. Quality control and quality assurance plays a vital role in ensuring that the end state of the project meets its intended purpose and it satisfies the owners and stakeholders' expectations. It involves establishing processes to prevent quality issues and maintaining the integrity of the products and services throughout the project's development. Now, quality assurance should not be confused with quality control, which focuses on the testing and written verification of the quality output of once the project completion has been delivered. Now, by prioritizing quality in industrial painting projects, companies enhance safety, improve productivity, and deliver better results. High quality work reduces rework and enhances overall productivity and meets the project schedule as well. And moreover, it fosters a culture of proactiveness and conscientious, which leads to improved safety practices. And when companies prioritize safety, quality, and production collectively, they create a strong foundation for sustainable business growth of the global protective coatings industry. Now, quality control is a process through which businesses seek to ensure that the industrial painting production quality is maintained or improved. It also involves testing ongoing and completed painting production work and determining if the work and completed painted areas are within specifications for the final project expectations. The purpose of quality control is to identify any needs for corrective actions in the production process and ensure that the project quality is maintained or enhanced. By creating an environment where management and employees strive for perfection, businesses can standardize production, can reduce errors, and meet facility owner demands for quality work and a timely delivery. Now, quality control methods vary depending on the project environment or the requirements of the project. For example, coastal projects typically will have quality control measures that are implemented to ensure that adequate environmental zone testing has been covered based on industry recommendations. Now, these measures could also include creating safe work processes and implementing checks to prevent non-conforming work. The testing involved in quality control can occur at various stages of the industrial painting production process. It may include testing raw materials, samples from the coatings manufacturers, or additional products that are required to complete the painting project. Quality control can also extend beyond beyond the painting production and involve production equipment, evaluations, the qualification of the craft workers who are really performing the surface preparation and the coatings application, the inspection personnel, and also to extend out to even work performance audits during the project. So let's sum this all up. Quality control is a vital process that helps businesses maintain and improve quality by testing against specifications and also with industry best practices for quality work. And then also taking the corrective actions when they are necessary. It ensures that businesses can deliver safe and high quality project work to their customers while striving for continuous improvement. So, what about quality assurance? Quality assurance is crucial on industrial painting projects for several reasons. It helps to verify that the work being performed to the specification and also ensures that the painted structure will be protected for at least a minimum period of time. Now, quality assurance inspections, along with other tools such as specifications, contractor certifications or accreditations, and quality control, are relied upon by owners to achieve these objectives. By implementing quality assurance, potential problems within the production or the project can be identified and addressed promptly. It also plays a significant role in controlling costs by highlighting inefficiencies or expensive processes. Now, onto the focus of this episode, coding contractor accreditation and why it matters. Now, for the purpose of covering this topic, I'll specifically be referencing the AMP QP accreditations for industrial painting contractors, coating inspection firms, and paint shops. Now, the history of this program um, starts back in roughly about the mid 1980s with the beginnings of the SSPC QP1 industry consensus standard. So in the mid 80s, around 1986, 87, that's when the SSPC, the Society for Protective Coatings, along with owners and with contractors, came together and started talking about developing a qualification procedures. That's where QP comes from in its name. And what they embarked upon was the first standard related to field painting. And the idea was to improve the quality of the work, but also for an owner. How can they be assured that they have an audited, at least to a minimum, level of a quality contractor to be able to do work with and to hopefully get quality production from that contractor? So the consensus standard, the consensus work finished up around 1989. That's roughly around the time when it became a standard in that time frame, but also the inception of the SSPC QP program. So you go forward, and you had NACE had their NICAP program, which is also a contractor accreditation program. And then in the last 3 to 4 years, you had the merger between SSPC and NACE. and now you have the AMP QP accreditation program. So with this particular standard and sets of standards that are out there, and we'll go through some of them on this episode, they can be invoked by an owner. A specifier can put them into project work. They can also be formally added to a requirement overall for a corporation or a government agency, a state, whatever type of industrial work, and they're very broad. It can cover a lot of different ways of doing project work, but they all have their own unique type of qualification procedures and processes to go through, audits that are done, and then also too any type of uh, issues that come up between an owner or contractor or AMP, those things, it's a collaborative process. So it's something that's very unique in the industry. As an accreditation program, it's more of a partnership between owners, specifiers, the contractors, the shops, the inspection firms that belong into the program, and then also AMP as its own entity to be able to resolve issues before they become major issues and also improve the program. So that's important as well. But since the inception of the QP accreditations, the goal was to build, as I mentioned, this collaborative relationship between it. And QP accreditations, they can be invoked and or specified for industrial painting projects. And that could be done in the field for field work, for shop work. There's even specialty applications and also related to substrates if you're talking about concrete, for example. Now, QP accreditation provides a methodology for facility owners to evaluate contractors' capabilities to perform compliant surface preparation and coating application project work. Accredited contractors, at a minimum, will have the experience, the knowledge, and the equipment to perform and produce high quality work. Now, one question that typically surfaced when I would work with facility owners and specifiers on requiring one or more of the QP accreditation programs was, why require accredited contractors? It's a very valid and a very good question. Now, when considering contractors, coating inspection firms, and paint shops, it's crucial and critical to verify that the project work that's being completed is done by a company or a firm that they're experienced with that type of work, and they have demonstrated quality work in that particular application. It could be field work, shop work, it could be some specialty type of work that's being done. And so also too, you want to not only look and make sure that you have competent work that they're doing, but also too, are they able to perform quality work? Do they have the capability? Do they have the capacity? Can they also ensure that their processes, procedures, the equipment they use all meets industry best practices and follows the standards in which they have been accredited to related to qualification? Now, owners and specifiers need assurance on the capability and the capacity that the contracting operation can meet specification and project requirements. And lastly, it's really critical that the facility owner minimizes risk on their side related to safety, any type of compliance issues, health, and then costly public relation impacts that can be associated with environmental compliance violations. So let's talk about additional benefits with contractors, coating inspection firms, and paint shops related to accreditation. First, there is no cost or investment by the facility owner to invoke or to specify. That's really important, that the program is funded through contractors, the inspection firms that belong to it, and also to the shops that belong to the program. So the industry supports it by specifying, evoking it, but then also to the contractors support the program to make sure that AMP can follow through with the administration of the program, to grow the program, to perform quality audits. And that really is an assurance across all those involved parties to make sure that there is quality going into the program and quality coming out of the program. Now, the program operates for facility owners really as a third-party evaluation tool. A lot of facility owners and even specifiers, they might have ways which they will rate or try to qualify. It could be on how they do their project work with them, but isn't it better to let an industry recognized organization do all that auditing, do all that review, and also have a disciplinary action criteria if things would go to the ultimate end where you cannot resolve issues or deal with any type of problems or challenges, and it's got to go to that point. So you have that. That's what's so unique about this type of a system, this accreditation system. And it's all based on, really about it's all based off of these industrial painting industry consensus standards, the QP, and also best practices and state, federal, any type of regulations, environmental, safety. There's so many things that go into this. Now, also, it's a confirmation and an ongoing verification that the contractor, the inspection firm, the paint shop, that they have an established quality, safety, and environmental program as well. And then the last, addressing risk management elements, which assist in facility owner liability. That's really critical to minimize the potential risk and also to minimize the potential for liability as well. So let me talk about the QP programs. So the first program that I will talk about is the QP1 accreditation. And this involves field work that's done by industrial painting contractors. So when you think of structures that are out there in the field that need to have industrial painting done, this is going to be the particular qualification procedures, but also the accreditation program that will cover that. And so that's going to cover a pretty wide range of different projects that are out there. QP2 is associated with any type of removal of hazardous coatings. So, for example, you have a legacy structure out there. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We've got so many steel bridges. The steel bridges at one time were all lead painted, and they've been blasted and repainted over the years. Well, guess what? No matter what you do, you still got to treat that bridge as having the potential for lead on it. Because it had lead on it once, there's the potential for it to be lead on it too. So you'll have the evoking of and the requirement of QP2 anytime you're dealing with a hazardous coating removal or you're dealing with a project that has some legacy hazardous type of coatings that were on there prior. So that's really important for looking at the environmental regulations. Also, too, the handling of the hazardous material, how it's handled, how it's accounted for, how it's disposed of, the worker protection that goes into that. There's so many elements of that particular QP2 that are so impactful to not only protect the environment, to protect the craft worker, to also deal with the handling of it, the auditing of it, the paperwork, and then also too the final disposal of that. As an owner, if you own a structure that has or has had hazardous coatings on it, that belongs to you. So you want to make sure that you have something in place like QP2 so that you have audible records and you can know that everything was accounted for, it was handled properly, and it was disposed of properly. Because again, you own that particular type of waste that comes off of when the blasting operations happens, especially related to these hazardous coatings. The QP3 accreditation deals with blast and paint shops. And what's unique about this particular program, it doesn't matter, it has a provision for liquid coatings, of course, but also for powder coatings. My background for a good portion of my time in this industry was involved in powder coating. And so there might have been owners, and for me, luckily, the facility I work for did not have to carry or maintain a QP3 status, but there were customers that potentially we could have been working with that would require it, and it could bring additional revenues that we weren't able to capture because of the requirements. So that's also another aspect of this program to think about it, that you are showing owners that you are quality, but it also gives you the opportunity to bid on these projects that have the requirement invoked. So for shop, the next I'll talk about is the QP5. The QP5 is related to the inspection firms that are out there doing coatings inspection. So when you have an inspection firm that's performing coatings inspection, it's really important that you do fully understand what type of qualifications they have, the qualifications of their workers that are performing the testing, or are the ones that are making the calls. And it could be related to the quality assurance. It also could be related to if the contractor hires an inspection firm to help with the project by requiring QP5 for project work. You're assured that you're going to have that inspection firm go through, again, the qualification procedures, and also they're going to go through an audit as well. So there's certain minimums required for personnel. Test equipment has to be calibrated. Some of it has to be certified. There's all these things that are going to go through that process. So you're just not going to hire somebody who's going to be working out of their truck and really should not be on a particular job. Again, I'm not casting any shade on anybody, but what I'm saying is if you really want to be assured of the type of inspection firm you're working for, with at least look into the QP5 program. That's just my recommendation. QP6 deals with a very specialized type of service, which is metallizing. Think of thermal spray metallizing. So some shops have the capabilities to do liquid coatings, and with the QP3, what I didn't mention as well, you might have field shops that are temporary structures that are on a project site. They're enclosed. You might have some open shop that's done. And then you might have closed, where you have the actual physical production plant or the structure that's a permanent fixture type of thing. So that's important on that. But going into QP6, when you're talking about metallizing, you're talking about thermal spray, you're going to have some paint shops that will do liquid coatings and also will do thermal spray. They can do thermal spray in the field. They could do thermal spray in the shop. So if you're having any type of very unique things, liquid coatings done, powder coating done, thermal spray or metallizing done, you're covered when it comes to that type of application in a shop environment. The other program I'll talk about, and the next two are really the newer of the programs and the the consensus standards on the qualification procedures. QP8 relates to basically concrete coating contractors. And my experience, I've only gone through protective coatings inspector level 1, concrete coatings inspector level 1. And from just going from that type of a level 1 training course, let's say, call it that, when I went through that, what I learned is that steel and concrete are two different animals. And so when you look at concrete, you want to make sure, especially when you're out there looking at contractors, have they done this work before? Do they have the capability to do it? Do the personnel, do the craft workers have the training to be able to do this type of work? It's really critical. And the reason why is because concrete versus steel, in my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion, I think it's much easier to work with steel when you're doing the blasting and spraying and project work. Concrete can be wild, wild west. It's a different animal. And so you really need to make sure that you really scrutinize in the type of contractor you're hiring to do that work. One way to deal with that, invoke the QP8 program. Put it into specification. This way the contractor has to validate their process, their procedures, their personnel, when the craft workers, can they do the work? And guess what? They're audited as well. The last program I'll talk about is QP9. Now, QP9 is something that should be out there more. I believe that the program is growing, but it's something that I think a lot of times people don't really know much about this particular program, and it's related to architectural coatings. So think of all the commercial and architectural type of structures that we have globally, not only here in North America, but globally. Have you ever been inside of a facility and seen some coming from the paint and the coatings industry, and you've seen some really bad work? Even when I've gone to conferences, inside of the conferences, sometimes there's structures in there. There could be some really bad paint application that's done, or the prep wasn't done properly. So think about that. And that program is related to that type of architectural, that commercial type of work. And that could be evoked as well. Now, one other thing too that I will kind of wrap this up with on this episode is to talk a little bit about the disciplinary action criteria. So the AMP program has a disciplinary program built into it. It's not a stick to beat up contractors or inspection firms or paint shops. What it's used for is kind of that last ditch thing to make sure everyone falls into compliance with the program and the continuous improvement. You can just imagine that if you don't have these type of disciplinary actions that can happen, you're going to have a program that could really run amok and really lose its value. And that's the important thing, to keep the integrity of the program and the value of the program, because it does offer a lot of quality out there. And that is something, like I say, since 1989. So the disciplinary action criteria has different sets of triggers. There's review processes that go in through. Even when you have legal entanglements and things like that, there's a lot of things built into this. But it's a good way to kind of safeguard, again, like I say, that there is compliance and conformance with the program. It also assures that the owners and specifiers do have something that they can go if things do not get resolved and they need to go a little further along. There's at least some rules and structures in place to resolve these issues that might go to a potential litigation or some aspect of that. So before I go into to the comments, what I wanted to talk about with you is also, well, let me do it this way. I really want to thank you for tuning into this week's episode recording. And today we covered and explored the Coating Contractor Accreditation and why it's important. In addition to the coating contractor, we also talked about coatings inspection firms. We talked about paint shops and also specialty coating project work that's done. Now, I hope that you did find this episode insightful and you gained some valuable knowledge out of it. And what I want to ask you is to join me on the next Coatings Talk and to dive deeper into topics such as coatings technology, surface preparation, coating application, quality inspection, and more. And don't forget to subscribe to the Coatings Talk channel and stay updated on the latest episodes. Now, I appreciate your support, and I really look forward to bringing you more exciting content on the amazing global protective coatings and corrosion industries. Now, coming up at the top of this hour at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing a live audio recording on LinkedIn Live, and it's related to Coatings Talk as well. So coming up at the top of the hour, I'll be recording an audio chat podcast, as I like to call it, for Coatings Talk on the topic of cathodic protection 101, and I'm just going to cover the basics. So I hope that you'll also join me at the top of the hour here on LinkedIn Audio to record this new session. Okay, thank you very much, and please have a great evening, afternoon, morning, no matter where you're coming from in the world watching this stream. Okay, let me go into some comments we have. Let's see here. We had, yeah, here we go. Well, the emoji didn't show up, but I appreciate the outreach there, Vladimir. Tommy said, I appreciate what you do. Tommy, on LinkedIn, I love your post. Keep doing it. You and I, we need to do an interview together because your story is an amazing story. I appreciate it. Chad says, I know it's different avenue, but that is why we founded the RCGOA to bring accreditation and certification to the roof coatings industry. Chad, drop me a line. Let's talk, because roof coatings is something I want to cover as well on Coatings Talk. Rudy, totally agree. Concrete is a PIA. Extra points to anyone who knows what PIA means. And Rudy, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your support, and I greatly appreciate everyone's support. So, all right, well, we got this recording done. I appreciate this opportunity. So, at the top of the hour, if you could do me a favor and join me for the Coding Stock audio podcast. And what we'll do is we'll be talking about cathodic protection 101. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Thank you, everybody.